Did you know? The $5 note will soon get an overhaul, with the Queen Elizabeth II replaced with a design that represents the enduring, emotional, spiritual and physical connection of First Nations people to country, unquote. The new theme follows extensive consultation between the RBA and our Indigenous community, but the idea has met criticism. The Australian Monarchist League says the move reflects a broader attack by today's Republican Labor Party on the Crown. It's a lot to take in, so for their take, let's bring in Daily Telegraph journalist James Willis and the founding director of Western Sydney Women, Amanda Rose. Good morning. Morning. What do you think of this, Amanda?
It's very interesting. At the moment, I'm not too sure people are worried about what's on the $5 note. They just want to be able to have a $5 note in a cost of living crisis to actually spend.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much.
You're
not getting that back.
Here. No, we're just reminding...
Is that Shervo's, I hope, because he's not getting it back.
There you go, James. If you haven't seen one for a while.
The reality is, you know, we've got to ask questions like, is now the right time to do this? Spending money on something like this? There's no problems doing it. I mean, they've been wanting to push out the royal family for a very long time now, and it's, you know, incremental bit by bit, and this is a step forward towards that. But right now, people will be like, are you kidding me? The RBA, we literally can't pay our mortgage and our rent.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not sure of the cost of doing this. James, also, why can't we just keep the Queen?
Well, that's right. Well, the reason we can't is because Philip Lowe, the former governor of the Reserve Bank, the long-time governor, wrote to Jim Chalmers a few weeks after Queen Elizabeth's death and said, do we keep the monarch on the $5 note or do we go to an Indigenous celebration? And Jim Chalmers wrote back and said, go for the second option. We'd like an Indigenous representation. Amanda's right. Since then, there's been an extraordinary and I think very expensive consultation process. The Reserve Bank travelled all over the country, Alice Springs, Darwin, Hobart, Kalgoorlie, to try and get a theme for the new $5 note, and they've now come back and decided that. So that's a very expensive exercise. Yep. Most people don't carry cash anymore. I'm not that outraged by it, but I think it is an interesting move that Labor decided to go in this path rather than honour King Charles instead.
I think we need a. You're right. We need a figure on this. How much has the RBA actually spent on this? Why can't we keep a strong woman who is iconic?
Yes.
Just because she's not with us anymore.
That's right, because if you're a man and you died, you'd have a statue, you'd have a city named after you, probably a few trophies and everything else. And it's just a little concerning that the government also made this decision on our behalf without asking us.
And that's true. And on the other notes, there are famous Australians who are no longer with us and they've stayed.
We don't axe them just because they're no longer with us.
This is a very interesting decision. They also created a $5 note advisory board that made this decision on top of the consultation. So
did they get overtime? Did they get per
jobs for the boys?
Yeah, correct.
Did they get, like, food at the board table?
And they might have been handing out $5 notes like you.
Maybe.
Yeah.
OK, tell us what you think of this. It's a really interesting move. Moving on, it's been revealed an Australian school rite of passage is fading away, with new data showing 1 in 4 schools are abandoning the annual swimming carnival. One unnamed student even said that unless you're a swimmer, nobody goes to the carnival because it's seen as uncool. Oh, Amanda, as the former captain of my school swim team, I am just outraged by this.
Well, as an ex-swimmer, I am extremely outraged.
Totally.
I mean, I still have my name on the record books at my school because, well, I was fast. But the thing is, swimming is our most successful Olympic sport, right? And so if we want to actually start having kids interested in this and also ready to go to the squad level, it starts at school. So they learn, they get their excitement. So unless the schools are on board to say, this is actually competitive, it's part of our culture, and encourage it, because if you say it's optional, they won't go. Kids are kids. But if you say, no, everyone has to come, not only is it community, but also it's literally... I'd say it's un-Australian not to have a swimming carnival, right? But there are so many people missing out here.
James, it's more than that. A lot of schools are doing the same thing with athletics carnivals. It's only the runners, only the kids who can compete go, and they're doing the same with swimming. Is this the community type of event we want?
Yeah, I think there's an issue with school budgets, and it might be linked in New South Wales to the large pay rises that they had to give teachers recently, which everyone thought were well deserved, but as a result, there may not be money left in the kitty. Obviously, the issue with swimming is the wider issue of kids not being able to swim full stop, and every summer we have dozens of people who sadly drown. But I just think, when I remember at Dundas Public School, in the 50-metre freestyle final in kindergarten, there were 3 kids in the race, 2 boys, 1 girl. I came third by 20 metres.
Sorry,
and we
the
all
girl
qualified.
beat you.
Yes, by 20 metres, she won the race, and we all qualified for regional, and we all got a ribbon. And I thought it was such a cool moment. So to not be involved in those things and not have most kids,
that's right.
Like the argument should be every kid should be involved.
It's
in
such
fact,
a good memory.
I'm sure it used to be every kid had to swim in at least one event.
Yes,
you had to do at least one thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So to not get involved, I think, is concerning, and it's sad that that's
It is sad.
being removed from schools.
Culturally.
Exactly. You were in a heat somewhere, even if you were in heat G or something.
And the whole school cheered you on, even if you were swimming like
Community.
Eric the Eel, like
That's
you were
right.
a long way behind.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Well, we all remember Eric.
I was there.
Yeah.
It's the community spirit.
I loved it.
Thank you, guys.